Tell us a little bit about what you saw and being able to relay that message to Cora when you watched Kimbrel pitch and kind of help out so he wasn't tipping his pitches.
So tipping pitches, we hear about it all the time.
People at home understand what tipping pitches is all about.
It's amazing.
And that's remarkable.
Alexander.
Robert.
Should we start using formal names with each other on the pod?
I think we should. Well, it's been
And topic. Your name.
You've been using Bob, I feel like, more regularly now, like signing
I'm
off
experimenting
emails with it. You are. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the place for you to experiment the other way, you know?
Get more formal in verbal communication.
Exactly.
And
See which
more
one you like.
informal in written communication.
Right.
I think that's actually kind of funny. I should do that. You know, like all of my friends have just called me Bob since I was like 8.
Yeah.
In real life. Bobby is my professional name. We've now been together for every second of the last 62 and a half hours. Well, we're about to hit about 64 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So it could get kind of weird. It could get kind of funky in here. How are you feeling? Are you sick of me yet?
No, I feel great. Frankly, I think we should do a 6-hour car ride for every pod because I do feel like I'm at peak performance right now.
Would you like to comment on your boots on the ground reporting on what's going on in Canada? Right as we crossed the border to head to Montreal on Friday, we learned that Justin Trudeau was no longer going to be the prime minister.
Right. He
He
heard.
had officially stepped down. He knew you were coming.
Yep.
To get to the bottom of everything.
Yeah. And frankly, we did.
And the conclusions will be on the Patreon.
Yeah,
Patreon.com/tippingpitches. Okay, well, if you've read the title of this episode, you know that it's one of our faves. It is the 3rd annual Banned Topics. If you're new to the show, this is an exercise that we do before every baseball season where we each come together and we bring 3 topics that we would like to never again discuss for the rest of the year. TBD on whether we hold to that. I have some thoughts about that from the previous years.
Mm-hmm.
I will share the last 2 years of topics that we banned on the show before we get into it. We have a couple pieces of housekeeping up top to go over, but I'm not trying to beat around the bush here. This is one of our favorite things to do. So let's get into it. Before we do, I am Robert Wagner. Feels weirder to say my formal name than yours.
I know. Yeah. And I'm
yeah, you got to do it.
Alexander Baisley.
That's what the Border Patrol agent called us today. So maybe we're just sticking
Which one's Alexander?
Do you think he's going to listen to the pod?
I think so.
We were kind of chumming it up. I could have told him about the pod. He might have subscribed right then and there.
Making jokes and stuff.
Yeah. Men of a certain age love to just chum it up with me. And you are listening to Tipping Pitches. Thank you to this week's new patron singular. One new patron this week, Alex. That is a fella named Aaron. Thanks, Aaron. Speaking of the Patreon, Alex, April's a big month for it. Do you know why?
Why's that?
Well, we're bringing back the Power Hour. Normal Power Hour, where we take 60 drinks, sips, or shots of beer over the course of 60 minutes and answer 60 of your questions, which is something that we, some believe it or not, have done before on the podcast and live to tell the tale. That will be running on the main feed here where you are listening. And then the second part of that podcast where we continue talking for an hour after becoming rather inebriated, that will run on the Patreon feed. That is just our way of kicking off the month of April, where we will be raising money for a charity, which I am now excited to announce is a charity called You Can Play. This is an organization that works to ensure the safety and inclusion for all who participate in sports, including LGBTQ plus athletes, coaches, and fans. We've been talking about it on the pod for a few weeks now. If you have not been listening or are just tuning back in or are listening for the first time, there's a link in the description where you can find out more information as well as submit a question for the Power Hour that will kick off this month. All the proceeds from the Patreon for the month of April will be going towards You Can Play, as well as whatever funds we raise off the GoFundMe link in the description. So if you're already a patron and you donate, that's great. If you're not yet a patron and you donate $12 or more and you send us a screenshot of that at tippingpitchespod@gmail.com, then we will give you a code for a free month of the Patreon. This is honestly a confusing execution that we're doing here.
I know.
It's a lot of moving parts, honestly. The upshot here, folks, the upshot here is that we're raising money for You Can Play. If you want to just donate to them directly, do that. If you want to donate through the GoFundMe, do that. If you're a patron, your money's going towards it. That's the upshot. And you're getting a Power Hour podcast out of it. So I don't know what else to say. It's confusing. All right. We're not.
Look, I think you explained it well.
Thank you. You already know what it is. You helped come up with it.
Right. After weeks of trying to figure out how to do this.
Yeah.
I'm excited for this. As you said, You Can Play's whole mission basically, right, is like, if you can play, you can play. Right. Like the things that matter for playing in sports are athletic ability and your character, and everything beyond that doesn't matter. Right. So creating
and your ability to tell the difference between assets and liabilities.
True. God grant me the strength. So we're really excited to be supporting them. They've done a lot of work actually with the NHL, I know, through educational initiatives and stuff.
And now that you're hockey pilled.
And now that I'm hockey pilled.
From going to Canada one time.
So this is cool. I encourage you all to go check out their work. If you want to support it in other ways, we obviously encourage that. But as you mentioned, link in the description to make your donation. I'm excited.
It'd be cool if you can do it through the GoFundMe so that we can know how much we raised. But if you don't want to do that for whatever reason, that's also totally fine. I don't really care. I'd like to raise as much as possible, but we are committing to giving the entire proceeds of the month of April on the Patreon. In addition to that, I hope a bunch of people send over $12 and send us those screenshots so you can get a free month of the Patreon and get that kickoff Power Hour Part 2 bonus extra hour, whatever we're calling it, where Alex gets to drunkenly sing love songs to Alex Rodriguez. I don't know what's going to happen. Anything could happen.
Anything could happen.
Over on Part 2 of the Power Hour. Part 2 of Part 2 of the Power Hour. Part 4 of the Power Hour or Part 2B?
Part 4. Oh, because we
did a 2-part one for the first one.
That's right.
The mission of this part of the podcast is for me to confuse people as much as possible.
Myself included.
Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing, I'm really overwhelming people with information. Tipping Pitches meetups.
Yes.
2025.
Yes.
I'm really just in my selling my wares era. We have met many a fine folk from the Tipping Pitches community at meetups over the last 2 years. We have done 2 consecutive years of meeting up at the Brooklyn Cyclones in Brooklyn, famously our hometown at the moment, our place of residence. Do you consider it your hometown now? You're going like 10 years, 11 years in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
Not in Brooklyn.
Weird. Really weird.
Really weird. Your time in Brooklyn is almost old enough to be recruited by the Yankees.
Hey, zing.
So we've done meetups at the Brooklyn Cyclones the last 2 years consecutively. Last year, we also did one at the Chicago Cubs in Wrigley Field. It was a lot of fun. Many of you came out. It was incredible to meet folks in person. This year, we're doing 2. Again, 2. But we're announcing it before the season starts because guess what? We heard your feedback and we agreed with it. Constructive criticism is always welcomed as long as it's in good spirits. So we have dates. These dates are June 13th, Friday, Brooklyn Cyclones Pride Night.
Oh, yes.
Very exciting. We have never gone to a Pride Night during the meetup. And this was just the weekend that I happened to choose without even knowing that was on the table. And the day after that is Faith and Family Night. So guess what? We're doing it on Friday for Pride. Okay, I'll leave that there. Please don't buy tickets yet. If you'd like to be part of the meetup, don't go ahead and buy tickets. I suppose you can if you really don't want to sit with us and you just want to look at us from across the field. But we will eventually, at some point, have more information and a link that you can purchase tickets specifically for so that we're all sitting in the same section. Okay? But just mark your calendars if you're interested in coming. June 13th, Friday night, Brooklyn Cyclones Pride Night. As well as, Alex, a new ballpark for you, September 6th, Saturday, in Kansas City.
What?
The Kansas City Royals will be hosting the Minnesota Twins.
What?
Heard of them?
Heard of them.
Kansas City Royals, Kauffman Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
You're going there to figure out what's going on with the funding yourself. September 6th, Saturday. Once again, don't buy tickets yet unless you don't want to sit with us. We're going to handle buying the tickets and we're going to handle taking your payment so that we're all sitting in the same place if you'd like to come. We're just telling you now, not because we have all the logistics figured out yet, but because we want you to circle the dates if you're interested in coming, because folks have traveled from far and wide. And if you'd like to travel from far and wide, far or wide, just far, just wide, that's fine. We want you to know the dates so that you can plan your travel accordingly. One more time for good measure, Alex. What are those dates? What do you know?
June 13th.
Pride Night,
Brooklyn Cyclones.
Brooklyn Cyclones.
September 6th, Kauffman
right.
Stadium, Kansas City Royals, Minnesota Twins. These are always really fun. I mean, we've done these for a couple years now.
Yeah.
And it's always a blast just getting out and like watching baseball with you all, honestly. Make this a bit more of a two-way relationship.
I like to go out to the yard,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
really set my eyes on the game,
Now-
decide who's good.
Do you know if Kauffman Stadium has a sports book though? Because I did spend a couple hours there prior to last year's Wrigley meetup.
Get all this out of your system now because band topics are coming up.
I know. That's great. That's great.
All your little
Fuck,
sports
shit,
book
do
jokes.
I need to reformat my list now?
Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves.
All right.
I love doing the meetups. I love it. Please come out. If you don't, it's fine. We'll still be there. We're going to go to Kansas City. We're going to go to the Negro Leagues Museum the night before, which I'm really excited for, or maybe the day after. I haven't decided yet. It's like 6 months away. 6 months away. But I've never been to that, and I'm really excited to do it. So, we're going to make a weekend out of it. That's all I got in terms of peddling my wares.
Hey, how about we peddle our wares via someone else? We just recently went on 10,000 losses.
Oh,
Our buddies Tom and
curveball.
Liam.
Well, we only ended up
Well,
doing it
actually,
with Tom.
yes, yeah,
I hope
but-
Liam is feeling better. He was under the weather
Me too. If you like
in a
that,
bad way.
if you like the energy of our Patreon episodes, I will say,
Shit, dude.
go check that out because it is out there.
A lot of accent work.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of egg puns.
A lot of egg jokes.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Hey,
That's the tone I want to leave it at.
Yeah, you listener, be the judge of it. Just remember, it's not our podcast, so
Yes.
you can't hold us accountable.
Thanks to our friends over at 10,000 Losses, the only Philadelphia sports podcast. You ready to ban some topics?
I'm so ready.
Okay, we've had a long time to think about this. This is our third year of banning topics. This came up a couple years ago just as something that we could do as an alternative way to start previewing the season. We really wanted to get going earlier in March. And you know what? We don't know that much about baseball. So it's not like we were going to start previewing divisions. It's not like we were going to talk about who are our early World Series picks. It's not like we're going to go through the odds. And so we were like, what can we do? We can make this a more self-referential bit and we can ban things that we may want to talk about at some point in the future. Seemed like you guys responded well to it. So guess what? We're doing it 2 years later. If you had responded poorly, you wouldn't be listening to this right now. So blame yourself
It's
if you
on
don't
you.
like
It's
this
on you guys.
episode. Blame yourself in the 6-hour drive. If you don't like this episode, we're going to ban some topics. That means that after we talk about these topics today, they are banned from the podcast.
Mm-hmm. From the main feed of the podcast.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. If you'd like to hear us getting a little dangerous and talking about things that are disallowed, go over to the Patreon feed. Patreon.com/tippingpitches.
Break all the rules over there.
Look, the Patreon is where it's at, especially when the season's about to get started. We're bringing back 3 Up, 3 Down over there. We're going to be giving you more information. Heads ups. That just doesn't feel right.
No. Mm-hmm.
Attorneys General. That's the one everybody loves to refer to.
Runs batted in, frankly.
True. RSBI.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't feel good. We're going to be giving you all heads ups, a heads up, several heads ups about merch drops because we're going to be making some new merch, but the patrons will hear about it first. So just saying. Anyway, when a topic gets banned, it is not allowed to be talked about on the main feed. It is allowed to be posted about on social media, but it's sort of poor form, frankly, if you're posting about it all the time on social media.
Agreed.
If you have to, but try not to.
Yeah.
Not a problem for you. You've given up your poster's license.
Mhm.
Not me.
Nope.
License to post.
You're digging in.
Still active. Still paying those annual
Right.
fees.
Just renewed.
took my direct deposit. Okay, here's a list of all the topics we've ever banned on the show.
Yeah.
After 1 year, after the next time we do this episode, technically they come back into play if we'd like them to.
Mm-hmm.
In 2023, you banned owners feigning surprise about other teams' payroll, discussion of the Fernando Tatis Jr. contract. You were really on the Padres train.
Mm-hmm.
And you also very famously banned discussion of the newly instituted rule changes.
Yeah.
So no one ever heard what we thought about them.
Exactly. And
Awesome.
frankly, the world is better for it.
I agree. In 2023, I banned discussion of the Rays front office. It was just out of control. Discourse.
Frankly, it was out of control here on this podcast.
Right, exactly. Accountability.
Yeah.
You know all about accountability.
Yeah.
Discourse around how a contract will age is something I banned. And the word analytics without specifying what you mean, because that word doesn't mean anything. In 2024, you banned discussion of virtual ballparks. Again, we were the only people who were talking about them. You banned talking about City Connect jerseys. Awesome work by you. And you banned football because you were goddamn tired of me embarrassing you for not knowing anything about football.
Mm-hmm. But it is back. Technically, it's back on the table this year.
Yeah. What do you think of... No, I'm not even going to do this bit.
Okay, good.
2024, I banned the name Ben Verlander. Keep it out of here.
Legendary work.
I banned acknowledgement of when a team says they want a new stadium.
I don't really know how that held up here on the pod.
Also, we talked a lot about virtual ballparks last year.
Yep.
We talked a lot about when teams want to do stadiums. And I also my final banned topic last year was discussion about the toxic wing of Atlanta Braves fandom. If you don't feed them oxygen, if you don't put fire on those, if you don't put oxygen in those flames.
Mm-hmm. If a Braves fan does a chop in the forest,
does the tree fall down? I'd like to institute a new thing here in 2025.
Okay.
Let's re-ban one of those things.
Oh.
From the last 2 years, those topics are now eligible for one free re-ban. And then we're going to ban 3 more new things.
Oh, so that's good. The reban is first.
Correct.
Okay.
Because I just read all of those things and no one's going to remember. They already don't remember. So let's keep it as close as possible to when I did read those things.
Okay, that's
so
cool.
What are you rebanning from your previous years?
We each get one
yeah.
reban.
And I'll throw another curveball at you. You better recognize the spin on this one as it's coming. Otherwise, it's a whiff. You could reban one of mine and I could reban one of yours. It doesn't have to be one of your own.
Fascinating.
Yeah, it is fascinating.
It is really fascinating. I'm gonna have to
It's
chew on
so
that.
Fascinating. People are running to tell as many people as possible to subscribe to this podcast.
I just heard many phones drop out of hands.
Please don't stand close to the platform edge in the subway. And don't jump on the tracks to get your phone. Just keep listening on your Bluetooth headphones until your phone gets run over.
There are a lot of really good options in here. Look, can I just say, I think you and I are both very good at this segment that we came up with.
Mm-hmm. It's our game. We make the rules and no one else knows what they are.
Exactly.
But we're winning.
We're winning by a landslide. Okay, so I think that it'd be really funny if I just like banned rule change discussion again after like it's been accepted by everyone.
Yeah. So funny.
Really funny.
Again, all the people who drop their phones, they're like, as they're leaning over, they're stitched over in laughter at how funny that idea is.
This is my vamp. This is me vamping.
I told you we were doing this.
I know.
And you didn't write anything down.
No, I didn't.
Okay, great.
Look, okay. I think we should run this back because we did not do a good job.
Oh, okay.
And I think, frankly, we need to do better. So I think we should ban acknowledgement of when a team says they want a new stadium.
All right, good one. That links really nicely with something that I'm going to ban, but it's different enough that I can still ban one of my 3.
Amazing.
Okay. Thank you for the accountability.
Can I just say, if you, the listener, hear us talking about something that's banned, let us know.
Yeah.
We want to hear your disappointment.
We're fallible.
We are
human
fallible.
beings.
Yeah.
We make mistakes,
Mm-hmm.
and we'd like to keep it honest here on the podcast. Okay. I'm going to reban the word analytics without specifying what it means.
Cool. Okay.
One of my biggest pet peeves. Everyone on social media does it. Many people in broadcast booths do it. Many people who get paid 7 figures to host TV shows do it. So we don't need to do it.
So, and
I need to be the change we want to see in the world.
I don't remember if I asked for this clarification last year, but you are banning us using the word analytics without specifying what you mean, or discussing other people's takes on analytics?
Both.
Both. Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
both.
Cool.
We need to be principled, right?
Mhm.
We are the last podcast on the baseball internet, aside from many other podcasts,
Mhm.
that is sticking to our guns, that is living our values. And we need to say the word analytics doesn't mean anything. You could make an analytical value judgment on anything.
Mhm.
If you don't give any context, it's not sabermetrics. It's
Yeah.
not just, it's not statistics.
Correct. I wrote
Analytics could be anything.
I wrote down the number of baseball hats I saw from each team.
That's
at the
analytics.
Canadians game. That's analytics right there.
Do you want to share those numbers right now?
Yeah. Do you want to hear what it came out to?
I do, yeah. To be clear, wait, I was kind of talking over you. So you re-enunciate for the listeners what you did here. Because I know what you did because I was sitting next to you.
Right. Yeah. So we did go to a Montreal Canadiens game, as we mentioned.
Go Habs, I guess.
Go Habs.
The Yankees of the NHL.
Uh-huh.
In that case, actually, that's why I wasn't wearing the Habs hat at the game.
Right. Conscientious objector.
Yeah.
Because I can only be me, right? I have to view everything through the lens of like, does this relate to baseball and can I create content out of it? But really it was sparked because the first baseball hat that I saw when I entered the stadium was, of course, none other than an Oakland A's hat.
Yeah.
And so I said,
literally
this is,
at the terminal as we entered.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like an hour into the game. It was like we walked through security with this guy in an A's hat.
Yep.
That is
I know, man. They're playing games with us.
simulation theory. I used to be a real skeptic
Mm-hmm.
because I was like, what's the point? Even if it is a simulation, it's all going to come out in the wash in the end anyway,
Yeah.
whether it's God simulation or man simulation or some higher power computer simulating us. We don't have control over changing it.
Right.
So let's just keep living.
Mhm.
And then shit like this happens.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, you put another sim who has an A's hat
Yeah, make
next
it
to
more
me.
plausible at
Yeah,
least. Come
come
on.
on. Come on.
Bullshit. Anyway.
Well, you don't know that I've been filming your whole life for a reality television show.
Live, or you've been collecting the footage for...
No, it's live.
Oh, okay, cool.
Like that movie that I have a mental
Truman Show.
Yeah, mental block to the name of that. Truman Show. Jim
Have
Carrey.
you watched that movie?
Yeah, dude.
Banger.
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Anyway, this concludes the Tipping Pitches movie hour. So what are the numbers?
Would you be surprised Montreal Expos coming in at at 6? The number is 6. They're not
I'm
6.
so confused by what you just said.
I saw 6 Montreal Expo hats.
Okay, and
at
that was
game.
the most.
And that was the most.
Not the sixth the most.
They
That was
led
the most.
coming in at number 6. In first place.
This is why we don't do analytics.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. 5 Dodgers hats,
Oh, boo.
4 Yankees hats,
Boo-er.
3 Blue Jays hats.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
And then
They sneaky fucking hate the Blue Jays up there.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That's
I like
cool.
they
That-
did not just adopt Canada's team because the Expos left.
respect. I respect the fuck out of
I
that.
do too.
Handful. I saw a couple Pirates hats.
Sure.
Sure.
Skeens moving markets.
Mhm, mhm.
Really, probably not him, but his girlfriend, maybe. Were they on like young men who are on TikTok?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Couple Giants, couple A's, Guardians hat, and a Red Sox hat. That was
One guard hat?
One guard hat. Yeah.
Wow. No Mets?
No Mets.
Down bad.
The people don't know.
I think they do. We were watching sports coverage.
We were watching sports coverage. We were watching, I think it was a replay of a Golden Knights game because, as I mentioned,
Right.
hockey build.
Hockey rules.
And it was in French, but they were mentioning you can watch the Dodgers game
Tipping pucks?
playing in Japan. Yes, tipping pucks. And then all of a sudden you just hear them saying a bunch of gibberish in French because that's what French is.
Skating pitches?
New York Mets, gibberish. Juan Soto. I'm like, the people know.
When are you going to get fluent in French? For our future career in French hockey podcasting?
I mean,
Like, that market is not oversaturated. 2 guys speaking in English about baseball and lefty shit.
Yeah.
Honestly, we probably hit a little bit of a ceiling here.
Mhm.
But there's untapped markets out there if you can learn French.
that's so true. Look,
Think how
we've
juiced,
always
like-
said we wanted to be the
You can't even do the
We're
bit.
dark woke spitting chiclets. Is what we are.
That's not what I thought you were going to say. Like 10 years in, you still surprise me. Okay, so thank you for your hat report.
Mhm.
Really appreciate all the great
Of
work
course,
you've
yeah,
done
my
there.
analytics.
Your analytics, and now any further analytics are banned. Actually, just the word analytics without specifying what you mean. But you specified greatly.
Yeah.
You talked about your
Methodology?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly what I was going to say. Okay, and now we are still not allowed to talk about when owners say they want new stadiums.
Yeah.
Like when they just put it out, this is what I said last year, when they just put it out into the world and they expect people to just like latch onto it and be like, sure,
Mhm.
they do need a new stadium. Like, no, they don't. They don't.
No,
Not
don't
unless they
give them
say
that.
how they're getting it and what their plan is to pay for it.
Yeah.
Okay, then we can talk about it. All right, 2025 banned topics. You go first.
2025 banned topics. My name is Alexander Baisley. The first topic banned from the baseball podcast, tipping pitches, salary cap discourse.
Okay.
So here's what I mean by that, right? Like,
Yeah.
because there's a qualifier to all of these.
Yeah.
I recognize that as the CBA expires.
I'm just gonna, even before you,
Yeah.
this is like 30% of our pod.
I know.
Okay, you're aware.
No, okay. So I more specifically salary cap discourse from ownership.
Oh, okay.
Like, I think there's an article roughly every week that says Dick Monfort came out in defense of a salary cap. Yeah, it's a fucking likely thing for him to do. We don't need to talk about that. That's not doing anything for me. The local billionaire doesn't want to have to spend as much.
Does Dumois know who Dick Monfort is?
There's only one way to find out.
DM them.
Um,
Just saw Dick Monfort wearing a shirt that says, I don't want to pay for players.
so
Anonymous.
I'm thinking specifically from the ownership perspective, right? Like,
Yeah.
and then it becomes a story, right? And it's like, well, and then Tony Clark responded, and
Yeah.
it's like he said the same thing as always, which is,
Yeah.
well, we're not doing a salary cap.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. So I recognize this is maybe going to be a bit of a mushy one.
Especially in the lead up to a CBA expiring.
Yeah, exactly. See, and that's why I wanted to do this, is I want to make it hard on us.
Okay. I love a challenge.
Look, you scorned my banning of the rule changes.
And it turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to me.
So I'm just saying.
By the time we actually could talk about it, no one wanted to.
Exactly.
Saved ourselves a lot of headache.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so far beyond doubting you.
Okay, good.
Nicely done. My first banned topic this year. People already know it. I've already said it. It's deferred money. You know what? You love it? Deferred money, deferred salary, net present value, whatever you want to call it, however you want to talk about it. It's not being discussed on this podcast for the rest of the year. You know why? It's a number in a spreadsheet. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't matter. I don't know why journalists started covering it so much. Just kidding. I do. It's because they're chasing clicks and because they know dumb guys who are angry on the internet are going to click it and say something in defense of ownership or say something criticizing Shohei Ohtani and the Dodgers, say something criticizing Blake Snell and the Dodgers. It's mostly the Dodgers. They're not the only team that does it. Every team does it. It helps small market teams just as much as it helps big market teams. If you listen to the pod, you know how we feel about deferred money. It's silly. It's an accounting thing. This isn't an accounting podcast. It kind of is an accounting podcast, but it's not. So we're not going to talk about deferred money anymore. We're just not. Is that okay with you?
That is, I'm so on board. And this is great because the rest of my things are just other topics that are going to be in the CBA. So I just don't want to discuss anything related to labor negotiations.
Okay.
Power dynamics within the sport.
Right. Yeah.
What I want to talk about is analytics, frankly.
We're getting out of our wonk era
Yeah.
into a different kind of wonk era.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in my Matty Y pivot.
Just kidding. My first band topic is you talking about Matt Iglesias on the pod.
All right. Fair.
Big Ringer fan, that guy.
Is he?
Yeah, he listens to every episode of The Rewatchables in the big picture.
Scary.
My direct pipeline to Matt Iglesias has never been more open.
Sounds like you should start using it.
All right, what's your second band topic before I get myself in trouble?
My second band topic. And this relates to the salary cap a little bit, but is discussion around like what baseball needs to take from other sports. What does baseball need to learn from basketball? And I think specifically I was thinking about this in the context of like the All-Star break. Every All-Star break without fail, it's like, how does baseball need to, should baseball look to the National Basketball Association and take some cues on how to make their All-Star break a marquee event? No, I think they should do their own thing. I think you're building your own sport. And if you want it to be resilient for the future, you should get creative with it instead of creating a monolithic landscape.
Yeah.
That's my POV. I don't, maybe this will be an easier one for us, frankly, because I don't know that we talk about this very much. But we have in the past, right? Like it's a very, I think, common instinct to be like, well, this sport, what if it was like this other sport? We've had literal episodes around this theme.
Good pod. That was a good pod episode.
It was a great pod. Yeah. I never want to do it again.
Yeah.
At least in this year.
Right. We've done it before. Why repeat ourselves?
Yeah.
You know, why keep making Goodfellas when you can make Killers of the Flower Moon?
Exactly.
This is our Killers of the Flower Moon, dude. How do you feel? I mean, it's funny that you named the NBA. It just tells me that you weren't really following the NBA All-Star weekend this year because it was the most reviled cultural product of the last 12 months.
Yeah, I know.
People were like, this is dog shit. We have to have a national crisis about this. We need to enact martial law to fix the NBA All-Star weekend. No, but it is, to your point about it being a natural instinct. I do think when something comes up and it's like a little bit underwhelming, I think it's our instinct here on the pod to be like, what are some ways that we could change this? What are some ways that we could fix this? That's good content. I think at this point, though, we kind of just got to let them steer the ship.
Yeah.
You know, they need to make it what it is. Frankly, I think in order to get this all out of my system now, 6 months ahead of time, because we're not going to be allowed to talk about it in July. 6 months? That's like 3.5 months. Yeah. It's all right. The years start coming and they don't stop coming. Frankly, I think it's a bigger problem with the TV presentation of the All-Star weekend.
Yeah.
I think ESPN does a bad job. And I think a lot of the events are pretty cool, but they're hard to watch on TV. And this, you know, harkens back to our conversation that we had about the mutual dissolution of the broadcasting agreement between MLB and ESPN. MLB's critique of that was that ESPN's not doing a good job of presenting the game, talking about the game, covering the game so that more people want to actually watch the product and engage with the product on linear television. And I think that's a big problem with the All-Star game right now. Now that's going to change in the next couple of years. So maybe by the time this topic is unbanned, we'll actually be able to engage in good faith with this. But I do agree that everything that can be said probably has been said about All-Star weekend. Home Run Derby is still really cool. Sometimes it's hard to watch on TV. Sometimes guys care more about it than other times.
Yeah.
All-Star game, one of the better All-Star games in professional sports because it's hard to do baseball halfway. This is pretty much it, you know? Enjoy it while you can. Enjoy seeing your guy on the team.
Right. Well, and like more broadly too, like baseball is just its own sport. Like it can have its own quirks.
Sure. Yeah. So what you're saying, sort of broadly, in a way, kind of like, in some ways, partially, sort of, like how the Democrats need to be more than just Republicans bad. They need to say what's good about them. MLB All-Star Week needs to be more about what don't you like about football? What don't you like about basketball? No, it needs to be about what do you like about baseball?
God, this is why I love doing this podcast with you. We should drive to Canada before every recording.
And that advice is free, but the next piece of advice, Dems, that's going to come with a little consulting fee. I know you guys are broke right now because of all the money that was laundered through the Harris campaign. All right. You want to hear my second topic?
Yeah. No, I want you to keep talking about the Democratic Party strategy.
No, you don't. Actually, maybe you do, but people listening don't.
Yeah.
I am banning the phrase special tax districts.
Okay.
And in addition to just the phrase special tax districts, I would like to ban discussion of the Byzantine ways in which future stadiums that don't even exist yet will be funded or will be rebated to owners who have to spend money to build them.
Okay.
Did you follow that?
No, but that's great.
Here's what I mean. Here's plain English version. New stadiums cost money.
Mhm.
You, Alex, you're a team owner.
Mhm.
You're building a new stadium.
Yeah.
Costs $1 billion. Round number. Great. Actually, you know what? No. Fake money. Costs $100. That's how much it costs. How much of that $100 are you paying out of your wallet? How much of that $100 is the city paying out of their wallet? That is all I care about. Period. I don't care about whether or not you're paying $61 now and the city is paying $32 now, and the extra $8 is going to be refunded back to the owner in tax breaks 23 years from now. I don't care about that. I don't care about special tax districts. I don't care about tax law as it pertains to MLB stadiums. I just don't want to talk about it. It's banned for the year. It's banned. It's done. We've explained it many times that owners find any way they can to not actually pay cash now because they can do more with that cash now to protect their fortunes. They insulate it and they pass the buck on through incredibly complicated structures. I actually don't think it does us that much good to talk about what those structures are because we don't, I mean, maybe you do, but I don't really understand them. And at the end of the day, I think the question we need to be asking and answering here on the podcast for folks who want to listen to two people talk plainly about what the economics of the game really are for communities is how much are we paying on their behalf? So whether or not it's in tax rebates, I want to know like how much of a percentage of the pie of the cost of the stadium is actually being put forward, paid with cash money, deposited checks, wire transfers. I don't even care from the ownership side. That's it. We can't go beyond that. It's banned.
This is going to be a really interesting one because this stuff fascinates me and I love talking about it. So if as long as
save
you
it for the Patreon,
as long as you
loser.
can reel me in.
No one wants to hear you talk about your little tax districts.
Frankly, I think that's true. You're doing the people a service.
I think people like hearing us talk about some of the complicated stuff, but I would like to at least challenge us to not get too caught up in the mechanisms through which these are funded. Maybe we can make special exceptions if we bring on a guest who's like more well-versed in some of these things than us. But I think I'm fine focusing on stadium funding. I'm fine talking about it. The interesting case is that the Rays just announced that they will not be proceeding with the $1.3 billion stadium plan to build a new stadium, more of a downtown style ballpark in Tampa rather than St. Petersburg where they currently play. Now there's kind of a lot of open questions as to what's going to happen with the Rays. Are they just going to try to remodel Tropicana? Are they going to try to move? Are they going to try to proceed with a different Tampa ballpark initiative? Are they going to do that with a different ownership group? Are they going to move with a different ownership group? There's a lot of open questions. But I think the only interesting part of that story, frankly, when it comes to how the new stadium was going to be funded, was that it was going to cost $1.3 billion, and Stu Sternberg was only willing to put up $700 million. I don't care how the rest of the $600 million was going to be covered by taxpayer money or by loans. Thank you for trying to play footsies while I'm explaining this. Via loans taken out by the city from private banks, via tax rebates to the owner over time as they put up more. That to me is actually kind of helping out the ownership side by trying to explain the weird ways in which they will get some money back for the stadium. It's normalizing the fact that they're not just putting the extra $600 million in to me. And that's why I like kind of just don't really want to talk about tax rebates anymore. I don't know.
I'm on board. Look, I think this is great. I'm so into it.
Thank you.
Lots of like banning of stadium related topics.
Yeah. What does that say?
We're becoming the baseball NIMBYs.
No, I'm a baseball YIMBY.
Yeah.
Just pay for it. As a wise podcaster once said, I think billionaires should pay for their own fucking stadiums. All right. Does that bring
That's
us to
good.
your third and
that
final?
brings to my third and final.
We're making great time.
We're making great time. Look, I gotta be honest. I kind of don't know which direction to go in this. My first two, I banned roughly half of our discussion here on this podcast. So, look, keeping in form from last year, I am I'll do 2 podcast related bans and 1 self-preservation ban, which means that I'm banning Billy Joel from this podcast.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
cowardly move.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm shutting down the dissent. I don't want to hear it. I mean, I quite literally don't want to hear it.
So, like, your take on censorship is what? That it's fine?
Yeah. Really fun time to joke about free speech and censorship.
I mean, this is a sort of censorship of its own kind. We're censoring ourselves.
Right. Exactly.
I think we just call that judgment.
Yeah.
Editorial judgment. I mean, honestly, I'm with you.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've said my piece about Billy Joel.
I think you have. I think the listeners probably get both sides. Or maybe they get one.
Right, my side.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, does this concurrently ban us discussing Bruce Springsteen? It's sort of 2 halves of the same coin.
Interesting. I kind of don't think so. You can't be a baseball.
All right, I'm going to ban
that
Bruce Springsteen.
All right, well,
just kidding.
Look, this is obviously a ban that's born out of trauma.
Okay, lay it all out there.
As the football ban was, right? I was staring down the barrel of my future of just getting my shit rocked
to name Cincinnati Bengals
over defensive linemen.
You
and I
Patrick
said no
Mahomes.
more. It's on self-care is what it is.
So is this like your GP now? This is your game plan to just ban 2 topics that we often talk about and then ban a third thing, which is a running bit where I make fun of you?
Maybe. Seems to work out. Helps me out.
Yeah. All right.
Look, I can ban other things too. I'll keep going.
I had a lot of ideas for this year's ban topics.
That's great. Even in a couple hours ago in the car, I was like, "Do you have any?" And you were like, "Nope, still working."
No. My creative process is sort of like it's like a crack in the ceiling from a leak. At first, there's just a tiny crack and water is dripping through. Drip, 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 drip. Couple ideas. And then all of a sudden, the levee breaks. Ceiling caves in. Mm-hmm. There's all my ideas. There they were. Just beyond the surface.
Right, yeah. Covered in mold.
Everyone's pissed about them.
All right. I think you got to bring us home then.
Listen, you can ban the Billy Joel thing, but can I remind people to go check out the photo of you singing Piano Man at Citi Field? That's on our Twitter.
Look, as I said
on our X.
As I said to our friend today, I feel like I can't fully hate until I've fully tried to live it and experience it.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
I can't I'm not going to sit there on the sidelines. I'm not going to be a Monday morning
You're going to be in the arena?
Quarterbacker.
This is why you banned football.
That's why I banned football. I'm in it. I need to know. I need to feel it.
What is it that you don't like about him that he brings other people
No,
joy?
this is why it's being banned.
But the whole point of the banned topics episode is that we get it all out of our system.
Yeah, but we did this like 2 weeks ago.
On the Patreon, though. Don't be elitist about it. Oh, no, you're saying just go sign up to hear it?
Yeah.
He brings joy. You hate joy and fun.
Correct. I don't understand how it's not computing for you.
Don't want to let people enjoy things.
Well, interesting.
People think that you're the good vibes guy. Oh, Alex, the California laid back. Mm-hmm. He's so fun and loving. Everybody loves Alex. No, actually, he's bringing the hammer down on me talking about music that I like and love. He doesn't
You know that's a time-honored tradition.
Exactly. Man, maybe now this is starting to color our whole friendship in a different light. But from the beginning, you were really just trying to set yourself up as a way to knock down my music taste. First Paramore, then Linkin Park, now Billy Joel.
Linkin Park.
I'm just going to put this energy towards something else.
I know you will. It terrifies me.
I'm like whack-a-mole. You kill Billy Joel over here, up crops.
Billy Joel is the devil I know.
That's exactly true. I've run out of things to say about Billy Joel, but I
Yeah.
got other takes on other things.
I know.
At least you didn't ban movies.
That actually would have been a really good idea.
No, I think people like hearing us talk about movies.
Yeah.
You seen anything good lately?
Do you have a third one or not?
Yeah, I do actually. I really wanted to ban just like a whole team. Just like we only talk about 29 of the 30 teams. But I thought about how that's kind of just ripping off the Deadspin thing.
Right.
When they would never cover the Cardinals. And then every time the Cardinals would lose, they would write a game recap of the Cardinals losing.
Yeah.
It was kind of like a little too close to that. So I ended up not doing it. So what I've decided to ban is parlays.
Great. Like the word?
Yes. Parlays, discussion of people's parlays, discussion of promoted parlays that we see on TV, discussion of...
Damn.
Yeah, listen. Everyone else is doing it. Okay? There's like whole pods that are just like, we talk about parlays.
It's true.
There's a whole cottage industry of just parlays.
Mm-hmm.
I'm frankly fucking pissed off that I even have to know what a parlay is. You know?
Yeah.
Free me from the tyranny of knowing if this happens, then this happens, then this happens, you win. But if this happens, then this happens, then this doesn't happen, you lose.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no in between. It's a bad bet, number one.
Yeah.
It's a way to make the casino more money, the app more money in this case. Number two, it's a silly word. We should have come up with something better. Chain bet or something? I don't know.
Chain bet.
I don't know. Series bet? I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Parlay just makes me think of that scene from Pirates of the Caribbean. I need to get this out of my head. Right?
Yeah, I know you do.
Every time I've seen someone talking about their parlays, I've thought Pirates of the Caribbean 1, when they get captured and they invoke parlay, which is a nautical law where if you get captured, you are allowed to ask for parlay with the opposing captain without them harming you. And that's what goes through my head every time I hear someone talking about a parlay. So it's not going to happen here on the pod. This is a place that I can control. I can't control promoted tweets on XD Everything app.
Mm-hmm.
You know this as well as anyone.
That's for sure.
They're getting really, really interesting now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're getting good.
It's America's mental health crisis is borne out on the promoted section of Twitter.
I also think it's worthwhile to discuss whether or not we should tone it back on just talking about betting at all.
I mean, this was the one that I almost did include. And it's hard because it's so intertwined with the sport, right? And it is such a pernicious influence that a part of me feels a responsibility to push back on some of what's out there. But it's so ingrained in everything that it also is simultaneously not worth trying to litigate every single thing that happens around it.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I'm just like sick of it too, because I just end up yelling about it. And that's not productive for anyone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we did a lot of betting content last year.
Yeah.
You were handing out parlay ideas.
Right, yeah.
Alex's picks. Alex's boosted bets.
Sign up for the Patreon, man.
You're something of a sharp yourself.
I am.
Right?
Yeah.
What's your sport of choice? Curling?
Curling.
If you're looking up curling lines in the app, call the hotline.
Youth tennis. U18 only.
Bro, people don't know that you're like a real tennis head.
I do love tennis, yeah.
Yeah, you're out there
Mhm.
in the tennis streets.
Yeah.
Grinding tape.
Some say I might be seeing tennis next week.
Going out to an unnamed city to watch some professional tennis.
We
I'm
love
not
it.
giving away your real-time assassination
I
coordinates.
appreciate you greatly.
Uh,
Okay, so now parlay does have usage in the common English language. I think probably still came from sports betting, right? But if I were to say,
No, I think it came from the maritime law.
oh, well,
You've never seen Pirates of the Caribbean?
I have, but it's the famous documentary about maritime law.
As far as I'm concerned, it's period accurate.
If I were to say, hey, could we, the A's are trying to parlay their stadium deal into something like, are you going to cut me off? Like, do I just need to choose my words more carefully now?
Generally, yeah.
Yeah, all right, that's fair.
No, I think you could use it in that context, although you just have to remember, with great power comes great responsibility, Alex. With the power of now me being vulnerable with you and the listener, of letting you guys know that every time you say this, I'm picturing Johnny Depp and Keira Knightley.
Great, yeah.
One much better than the other to picture mentally and in real life. You have to know that if you say that word in another context, it's still going to conjure that same image for me.
That's good. I'm glad you cleared that up for me.
Uh-huh.
I think we could parlay this into something real nice, frankly.
What are your thoughts on Captain Barbosa?
Gotta say, it's been a little while since I've seen those movies. Do you have thoughts on Captain Barbosa?
A lot, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. Never cared for his energy.
Yeah.
Not my kind of boss.
No.
No.
Not a benevolent leader.
Not at all. Not an accountable leader.
Yeah.
Either.
Frankly, seem like pretty poor working conditions, all things considered.
Rules with an iron fist, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a lifelong deal.
I didn't see a single OSHA sign on that ship.
No. That doesn't apply to maritime law.
That's
as we've covered numerous times on this podcast,
know.
on international waters, labor law is not in effect.
That's for sure.
Okay, that is a long running bit. Don't ever try to ban that. I'll veto that. No OSHA signs. No collective bargaining involved. Although a couple of individual bargaining sessions in that, but not collective.
Right.
And not an IRA in sight, not a 401k in sight, not a pension to be heard of.
Nope.
On the Black Pearl. Yeah.
Yeah. See, I know. I've seen the doc.
I think I've seen that movie like 73 times.
Okay,
In my
good.
life, like a lot of times.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Good film.
Yeah. Jay Bruckheimer,
Mm-hmm. I think so.
legend. Whatever happened to him?
I don't think he directed it though.
Or that was just like his production studio?
Yeah. Because I think it's directed by it's directed by Gore Verbinski.
Mm.
The first three are, at least. Famously the director of Rango. You know Rango?
Mm-hmm.
He's a lizard.
I do know Rango, yeah. Isn't that
He's a sheriff.
also Johnny Depp?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Gore was like, I have my muse. Now you're just reading. I can see it on your face. You're just reading the Wikipedia page for Pirates of the Caribbean.
No, actually, it's for Jerry Bruckheimer.
Right. And you're thinking to yourself, hang on. I'm reading your thoughts. You're thinking to yourself, how did I get here? It's 10 p.m. on a Sunday night.
Wait, he co-founded the Kraken?
The alcohol?
No, the NHL team. What?
You know the Kraken? Captain Morgan, the Kraken?
No.
Don't get familiar with it.
Okay. Well, we have a power hour coming up.
It's like dark rum, but like extra dark.
That's terrible.
The color is alarming.
That sounds awful.
It's like the color of your sweatshirt.
You've had it?
Regrettably.
Okay.
Yeah. You're the rum guy in this relationship.
I don't think that I am.
I mean, you kept a bottle of Bacardi 151 under your bed in college that I didn't know about. And you busted out without telling me when and where and why.
You cannot judge my character off of the actions I was taking
At 19?
At 19.
Sorry, at 21.
Well, yeah. That's right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Was this good? Was this a good banning? Have we been potting long enough to end this?
I think so.
All right.
I'm going to fall asleep in this chair. I hope you know that.
Okay. Reminder for folks.
Right. You run through the housekeeping one more time.
You can play. That's the charity. There is a link in the description to start donating to that charity via GoFundMe. If you donate $12 or more and you're not currently a patron, please take a screenshot of your donation and email it to us, tippingpitchespod@gmail.com, and we will send you a code to sign up for 1 free month of the Patreon. You can redeem that code, and then you will be able to get access to the bonus half of the Tipping Pitches Power Hour. Also, link in the description is the Google form to submit questions for the Tipping Pitches Power Hour. We have gotten many good ones, and we still need some more. So please submit short form questions that we can answer in the span of 60 seconds as we also take a sip of beer. That's the concept. You know what else I'm going to do in this? I'm going to put the link in the description to the last time we did the Power Hour.
Nice.
So that people can listen for reference to what we're looking for. This is an evolving thing we're doing here.
It is.
Every week. It's like jazz.
Who's the Miles Davis? Who's the John Coltrane?
I'd like to not make that comparison for either of us. I don't think either of us are either. And I don't think that we should insinuate that we are. I'm more like the Damien Chazelle, failed musician who has a deep, deep appreciation almost to the point where it's lame for jazz.
You want to know whose movies I don't like?
What?
Actually, that's not true. Whiplash is good. And that's about it.
Whoa. You dropped that on me?
Yeah. I know.
At hour 66 that we've been together consecutively?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Not Babylon?
Yeah,
Have you seen it since we saw it together in that theater where we couldn't hear what they were saying?
No.
All right, fine.
Look, we can revisit this.
First Man? No?
Fine.
Gosling? La La Land? An inspiring story of love and bittersweet nostalgia?
Really?
Emma Stone?
Really?
No?
Just the whole time I was like, are we really doing this right now?
And the answer was yes.
Yeah.
And you know who loved it? Everyone who makes movies and everyone who went to the movies. Except you.
All right. Hey, man. La La Land and Billy Joel.
Wow, now that you put it that way, they are kind of in the same sphere. I need to sit down and ask myself whether or not my tastes are as interesting as I hoped they would be by the time I was this age. No, I feel certified in my taste. I have good movie taste.
You do.
I like Chazelle. I don't know what to tell you.
I didn't say there's anything wrong with
Whiplash is really good.
Whiplash is really good.
Yeah. You know what is especially impressive about Whiplash?
What?
Everything else that's happened with Miles Teller's career since then.
Mm-hmm.
Like the fact that he got that performance out of Miles Teller.
Yeah.
I don't have anything against Miles Teller. I think he's a fine actor. Very limited.
Yeah.
He's pretty good in Top Gun Maverick.
Mm-hmm.
This is becoming a tradition now where you bring up something that I want to talk about for 15 more minutes at the end of the podcast.
Really, I got to stop doing that.
Ban that. Ban the vamp. Okay, thank you everybody for listening. Patreon.com/tippingpitches. Bunch of links in the description to help you find out and clarify more about what we've been talking about on this podcast because I can't really tell how coherent it was or wasn't. Thank you for listening. Next week, you know what? We got an exciting thing on the table. Next week on the podcast, we will be bringing back the bingo card where we create a bingo card of events that we think are kind of likely enough to happen to put on a bingo card and play a game. We will have a bingo card generator where you can play along at home. If you're confused about what that means, go check out last year's bingo card where we predicted 24 things to happen. And over the year, we continually came back to that bingo card and checked off those squares as those things happened.
And availed ourselves quite nicely, I'll say.
Honestly, we crushed it.
Yeah.
Honestly, we crushed it. And I don't want to give too much away because the interview hasn't happened yet, but we have an exciting guest, hopefully, that will be part of that episode. Not part of building the bingo card unless things go really, really well. But stay tuned for that. Good stuff coming up in the month of March, as well as the start of the Major League Baseball season. Thank you for listening as always. We'll talk to you in 1 week.
Hello, everybody. I'm Alex Rodriguez. Tipping pitches.
Tipping pitches.
This is the one that I love the most.
Tipping pitches.
So we'll see you next week. See ya!